Hope was a lie. The world was quiet that morning, too quiet. The kind of silence that doesn't comfort, but chokes. Elena sat by her broken window, staring at the pale sunrise that no longer looked alive. The sky used to mean something, it used to bring warmth. Now it looked like it was painted over with ash. Her heart still whispered one fragile word, hope, but deep down, she already knew that word had betrayed her. The streets outside were filled with abandoned cars, their headlights dimmed long ago. Every billboard that once promised a better tomorrow now hung like a mockery, faded by smoke and dust. People had stopped speaking about the future. They only spoke about how long they could last. Hope had become a ghost, something you heard about but never saw. Elena wrapped herself in a torn blanket and clutched a photo of her family. Her father's smile, her mother's gentle eyes, all frozen in time before the world fell apart. The radio beside her flickered on and off, repeating a static message she'd heard for months, stay indoors. Help is coming. But she had stopped believing in help. The truth was colder, no one was coming. Once, she had believed the world could heal. She had believed in governments, scientists, prayers, and promises. But all of it crumbled the day the light vanished. The light storm, they had called it, a wave of blinding brilliance that erased cities, people, and dreams. What remained was a whispering darkness that fed on desperation. She ventured out that day, against her better judgment. The air outside tasted of iron and decay. The wind carried voices soft, pleading, and familiar. She knew they weren't real. But every whisper sounded like her mother calling her name. That's what this world did now, it played your memories against you, making your own heart your greatest enemy. At the edge of the city, she found an old church. Its cross was bent, its windows shattered. Inside, candles still burned, small flames trembling against the cold. She knelt down, not to pray, but to listen. And then she heard it, a voice that wasn't her own. Hope was a lie, it said, echoing from the altar. You were never meant to be saved. Elena's breath caught in her throat. She backed away slowly. But the doors slammed shut behind her. The candles began to flicker wildly. And in each flame, she saw faces, thousands of faces, all smiling, all whispering the same words. Hope was not a promise, it was a trap. It had led humanity to wait instead of act, to dream instead of fight. She screamed. But the sound was swallowed by the church. The walls seemed to breathe, the floor cracked beneath her. And the air turned heavy. Then came the laughter, low, human, but broken. A man stepped out from the shadows wearing a priest's robe. His eyes were hollow, his voice calm. Hope made us blind, he said. Faith made us fools. She tried to run. But the man reached out and touched her forehead. The moment he did, everything froze. Time shattered like glass. She saw flashes, cities burning, oceans rising, people praying to skies that never answered. She saw herself over and over, hoping, waiting, losing. Then the world blinked. And she was standing alone again. The church was gone. In its place stood an endless desert, glowing faintly under a blood-red sky. The ground was littered with photographs, all burned at the edges. She looked down and saw her own face in one of them, smiling, young, full of hope. She crushed it beneath her heel. A shadow moved beside her, tall, human-shaped, but shifting like smoke. You understand now, it said, its voice both inside and around her. Hope isn't light. It's a chain. She wanted to deny it. But her heart knew the truth. Hope had kept her alive long enough to suffer, long enough to lose everything. The wind howled across the desert. The shadow stretched its arm toward the horizon. There is one way to end this, it whispered. Abandon what was never real. She hesitated. If she let go of hope, what was left? Emptiness? Freedom? Or something far worse? She took a step forward. The ground pulsed beneath her feet. And the air shimmered with voices, cries, prayers, songs of forgotten souls. For the first time, she didn't cover her ears. She listened. The voices weren't cursing hope, they were mourning it. Then, from far away, she saw light again, faint, trembling, fragile. It wasn't sunlight. It was something older, purer, almost human. She reached for it. But the shadow stopped her. You can't have both, it said. Hope or truth. One destroys the other. Her eyes filled with tears. Then I choose truth, she whispered. The shadow smiled and vanished. The desert around her began to dissolve, revealing the broken world beneath. Cities in ruins, oceans frozen mid-wave, skies split open. And in the middle of it all, humanity stood, not destroyed, but stripped bare. No illusions, no false promises, just the raw will to survive. Elena looked at her reflection in the shattered glass of a fallen skyscraper. Her face was tired, scarred, but alive. Maybe hope was a lie, she said quietly, but lies are what taught us to fight. She walked into the horizon, not looking back. The world didn't promise her anything anymore. But for the first time, she didn't need it to. The end of hope wasn't the end of everything, it was the beginning of truth. And somewhere deep within that silence, the world finally exhaled, as if relieved that someone had finally understood.